Miller-Modigliani dividend model, model. Professor Merton Miller and Franco Modigliani presented a paper in 1958 arguing that it was the investment policy and earnings of the firm that decided the value of shares and not the capital structure. So investment policy and earnings of the firm that will decide the value of shares and not the capital structure and not the dividend policy of the company. So this theory is relating to irrelevant approach, that is it is relating to second school of thought, where first school of thought includes two theories, that is Walter's model and Gordon's model. So in that models, both of the theory says that dividend policy of the company that will affect the share prices. But here in this approach, Merton and Modigliani, both of them says that investment policy and earnings of the firm that decides the that decides the value of shares and not the capital structure. So they same thing they have argued in their article, which is published in Journal of Finance in 1961. They used arbitrage process to explain this theory. That is, if the firm uses its earnings to pay cash dividend, at that moment the share prices may go up. But whenever, in order to meet financial requirements of the company has to issue shares. That means company have to issue new shares in order to meet its financial requirement. So as a result, number of shares available in the market that increases. So it results in share prices to the previous level. It will bring the share prices to the previous level. So this theory had a big influence on many corporates, that is US corporates. So as a result, many of the companies, they stopped declaring dividend. A main example I can give, that is Microsoft. From 1981 to 2002, Microsoft has not declared any rate of dividend, but still its market price, it kept on increasing. It is never fall down in that duration. So perfect capital market is the first assumption of Miller-Modigliani dividend model. So we'll see what is perfect capital market means. That means all the investors are rational. They do not take decisions based on emotions. Emotions of the investors will not affect their investing decision. And second assumption is all prices sensitive information is available to all the investors at the same time. So if there is any variations in the price, so that information is available to the investors at every time. Securities are infinitely divisible. So if the share price, if the market price or the value of the share that is high, then that share can be divided into number of units. So investor can invest in that units, each of the units. That no single investor is having the capacity to influence the share price. So share prices will not be influenced by the investor. Investor he cannot influence on the share price. Second assumption is non-existence of taxes. Taxes do not exist. If taxes exist, they may affect the dividend and capital gains differently. So this may have an influence on share prices. That's why it is assumed that taxes do not exist. So according to Miller and Modigliani, there is no tax. If there is a tax, it will affect the dividend and capital gains. So ultimately it will influence the share price. So because of that, they assumed that tax do not exist. Then third assumption, constant investment policy. The firm has constant investment policy so that the risk return profile does not change from one year to another. So risk return profile of the company, that will be constant because of the constant investment policy of the company. That is the assumption made by them. So that means the company will not go for mergers or takeovers. So they will go for constant investment policy. They will invest in same investment avenues. Then last assumption is forecasting ability. So investors are able to forecast the future earnings, dividends and share prices. So they have assumed that they can assume what is the earnings of the company in future and what may be the rate of dividend, and as a result what will be the share prices. So that is all these can be predicted by the investors. Here is a formula to compute share prices using model. So formula is P1 is equals to P0 into 1 plus KE minus D. So here P1 stands for price at the end, P0 means price at the beginning, share prices at the beginning, KE means cost of equity, D means dividend per share. Coming to criticisms, all the assumptions of this theory criticized by many. So first, capital market, perfect capital market, this assumption also criticized. That is, all the investors are not rationals because sentiments of the investors that affects the share prices, and single investor also having the capacity to influence the share prices, and there is a tax will be existing in a market, and investors growth oriented investors, they like to take over the other company. They are investing in inorganic growth, and it is not possible to forecast the prices of shares because it is highly volatile. So all the assumptions of this theory, it is criticized by the critics.